We're Britt and Mike, and this is our dog, Leah. We're currently working on converting our 2021 Ford Transit van into a home on wheels. Last week, we installed our 12-gallon propane tank and our driver's side swivel seat. In this week's video, we're installing our shore power inlet and mounting two 200-watt solar panels to our roof rack.
Good morning.
Good morning!
Welcome to Van... damn it. Welcome to Van Vlog... I can do this.
Welcome to Van Build episode 6.
Thank you. So yesterday I installed the shore power plug on the passenger side of the vehicle. I modified our swivel seats just a little bit because they were rubbing on the door. And I finished the installation in the area in that back corner panel where the power inlet was installed. So got quite a bit done yesterday.
Hey there.
Hi. So I'm going to clean up the hole a little bit, put some clean metal primer on it, and prep it for install. Okay, so I got the hole cut and primed and ready to go. Just gotta wait for this stuff to dry. All right, there you have it. We'll link this in the description, the plug that we went with from Amazon. But a couple things about it. It did not come with any fasteners to attach it to the van. It calls for number 8 size panhead screws. I went with these guys from Lowe's. I think it was $3. Stainless steel. Won't have to worry about rusting or anything like that. So, and then one thing that really helped me out, again, I know I've talked about this before, is the deburring tool that I picked up from Lowe's. It takes off all of the sharp edges really fast and efficiently. Yeah, I highly recommend one of these, especially for these smaller holes. So as I showed you guys on Friday, I installed the swivel seat on the driver's side. It looks great, it works great. The only issue that I've run into is that when you rotate the seats, you get this little scratch right here. So when the seat rotates, this little piece of metal sticking out of the back end here on both sides, actually, both sides rub. I think I'm just gonna take the corners down and just take the grinder to them and lop them off just a little bit because they barely touch. Okay, so I've got them both done. And as you can see now, no more rubbing. So, and today I'm going to start installing the solar panel entry gland where the cables will be coming in through the roof. So, should be a lot of fun, guys. Okay, so I'm in the van. I have the solar entry gland. Hard to say for me, apparently. And I am just trying to figure out exactly where I want to mount this thing on the roof. I've already gone up on the roof and kind of figured out where I want to put it. And from the inside, all I've done is taken this guy here and put it right here on the roof, pretty much dead center in this back panel towards the rear. And I went ahead and outlined it there. And now all I have to do is drill 2 3/4-inch holes in the middle here. And then I have some grommets that I'm gonna put in there so that the cables don't rub on there. From the top side though, it's pretty much where I wanna mount this gland. Probably about right there. So these are the grommets I'm going to put in the holes that I cut out so that when the cables run through them, there's no rubbing. And you don't have to worry about those cables getting tears or cuts in them and shorting out in the future. From drilling through the kill mat. This stuff's kind of gross. All right, there you have it. Let's get these primed up and prepped for the entry gland. You can see kind of around the holes, maybe you can. There's like a Sharpie outline. I took the grommets that I'm going to use and I outlined them so that I kind of know where my holes are going to be. And then also I can kind of gauge how far away I am from the lip that goes around the outside of the entry of the gland. I needed about a 1/2 inch of space. This is just over 1/2 inch on both sides. And then these will fit perfectly between both holes. Don't have to worry about these grommets not fitting. Okay, so I just mounted the entry gland on the top of the van. The instructions call for Sikaflex 252 to adhere it to the surface. I don't have Sikaflex 252, but I do have Sikaflex P2G, which is typically used for installing windows. So this is what I used instead. Maybe it's a bad idea. I don't know, we'll find out. But basically, I already had this stuff on hand. I would have had to order the other one and wait several days for it to come in, which I didn't really want to do. This stuff is used to install like glass on vehicles. So like windshields in the front of vehicles are held on with this stuff. So it should work fine. It shouldn't go anywhere. But if we have any issues, I'm just going to be doing some double work. So yeah, this stuff is, and the 252 is also is similar. It's very high viscosity. So this stuff is like super thick. So if you just try to put this directly into your caulking gun at home, cold, the way that it is, you're gonna either wear out your hand, your arm trying to squeeze the trigger, or you're gonna break your caulking gun trying to get this stuff to come out. Super thick. You can either use a professional 26-to-1 ratio caulking gun, which I don't have, or you can do what I did. So you can take a blow dryer just like this one here, turn it on, run it on high heat for 20 minutes, and just sit here and go back and forth and just warm this up as much as possible. 20 minutes later, put it in your caulking gun. This stuff comes out like any other silicone or caulk that you use at home. So super handy. I was reading the reviews on Amazon for the 252 and the P2G, and people were complaining that the product was broken, it didn't work, or there's something wrong with it because they couldn't get the stuff to come out of the tube. So that's all you got to do. Heat it up for 20 minutes. Some people put it in the oven for 20 minutes on like 150 degrees. I'm not putting something like that in our oven here. So good afternoon, everyone. It is Thursday, the day after you last saw me. And this morning it was wet and rainy. Now it's nice and dry, and I can get to work on my solar panels. So let me show you what the entry gland looks like, because it's done curing. It's solid as a rock. It's not going anywhere. And the great stuff about the Sikaflex P2G is that it's also a sealant, so I shouldn't have to add any kind of lap sealant around it. I can always do that later on if I want to, though. There she is. Put a piece of masking tape on it just to make sure it didn't get nudged around at all, but I can push on it, tug on it, pull on it. That thing is solid. And what I didn't show you guys is that yesterday, after doing the entry gland, while I was literally waiting for that stuff to dry, I took the time to measure out where all the holes are on our solar panels, the prefab holes, just to see if I can make it work with our roof rack. Basically, I don't want to move the bars on the roof rack, and just the way to make everything fit up there with the decking that I'm going to do later on and everything else, I need the holes to be 56.5 inches apart. The closest I have is 58 inches, so that means that I'm going to use 2 prefab holes on the front of the solar panels, and I'm going to drill a couple of my own holes towards the back of the solar panels. And that way everything should line up nicely, and we should have room for everything else on the roof that we want to have up there. So this is what I did here to kind of show you the measurements of the solar panels that we used. So the outermost holes are 63 inches apart. The next ones in are 61, and the next ones in from that are 58.5, I believe. No, that's 58. And then these 2 holes right here are 41 inches apart, and these 2 side to side are 19.5 inches apart. The holes are in sets of 2, so there's 2 on the top, 2 on the side. As you can see right here, I've kind of made it a little bit bigger, and those are approximately 1.5 inches apart. And then everything is, all the holes are about 0.75 inches from the end of the rail. None of these quite match up the way I need it to match up at 56.5. So I'm going to use the front holes as they are as they come on the solar panels, and then probably back around here somewhere I'm going to drill out a couple more holes for the other ones to mount, and it should line up nicely. These are the hardware that I plan on using for the roof, or for the solar panels. This is just a carriage bolt. I can't remember the size off the top of my head. I think it's 1/4 inch by 1.5 inches or something like that. And then I've got a nylon washer with 2 stainless steel washers on either side of it, so that there's a gap between the roof rack and the solar panels, and then I shouldn't have to trim this at all. There should be enough room underneath the lip of the solar panel for the rest of this bolt to fit. And then on top of that, to hold it in place, I'm going to use a nylon lock nut. So everything should be nice and sturdy and secure. And yeah, that's what I came up with. These carriage bolts, I already tested it out with one. Not the ones that I bought, but one that I had lying around here. And this should slide perfectly into the extruded aluminum, and then the square part here should fit right in the groove on the top, so shouldn't be twisting or turning or going anywhere. It should be nice and sturdy for me to crank that sucker down. So alright, let's get started. Hopefully I have enough bolts that'll fit in this channel without any modification, but if I don't, I might just have to grind off the tip on each side so it'll slide into this channel. But this right here is basically how it should work. You just slide them all the way down in place, and then you can see it fits perfectly in the channel. Once everything's on top of this and tightened down real good, it's not going anywhere. This aluminum will be attached back here again once I'm done, so this has nowhere to go off the ends. Yeah, it'd be real good. Alright, there you have it. Now I've got to bundle these up and put them out of the way a little bit. Alright, so I'm back inside. As you can see, I'm starting to lose daylight here. I have my first solar panel measured out for the holes and prepped, and I am going to start drilling the holes here very shortly. This is approximately where my holes need to be on both sides. And as you can see, these holes are oval, so I will do the same. So just to give it a little bit more play, make it easier to line up and mount. And I put a piece of scrap wood under here, so that if I drill through this and the drill suddenly grabs and shoots down, it doesn't shoot down into my solar panel. That's why there's wood under there. So obviously I'm not done. I'm gonna have to clean up these holes a little bit. Not quite the oval shape that I need, so I'll be out here for a little bit picking away at this thing, but I think it looks pretty good in the right spots and everything. Just a little fine tuning now. Alright, so I took a file to it and got those ridges out of the middle here for the most part. This would be something that I would have a lot easier time with like a Dremel. Unfortunately, I don't have one. So my holes are now wide enough that my bolts will slide in, and that's all that really matters. Doesn't that be pretty? Alright guys, I'm going to clean this up and get on to the next one. Alright, so the second set of holes are done in the second solar panel, and they came out a lot cleaner than the first ones. Turns out all I needed was a bit of practice. to get these things threaded on here, and that's going to be fun. So stick around for more action.
Finishing up installing the solar panels. So you saw in the last clip, my dad and Mike lifted the second one up onto the roof, and then you screwed down the first one, right?
Yeah, the first one's done. It's just I need to connect it, that's all.
Okay, and then the second one Mike is going to screw down right now.
Yep. So as you can see, I have our floor insulation holding the panel up because it's very difficult to reach these bolts back here in the back. So I'm going to be standing up very high on the ladder, doing my best to reach those right now. I'm going to tighten them down as much as I can. Obviously I can't go all the way down because we're at an angle, but I can get them pretty close. And then I can lower the back, tighten those ones down. Once those are all, I can get all these three really tight. This back one's going to be really difficult for me to get up underneath there, but we'll get it done. It's just going to be a struggle. I think they look pretty good. We talked about a while back about how they were going to hang off the back of the van a little bit. They do. They hang off the roof rack, not the back of the van.
Yeah.
So
you can see it right here.
Yeah. That's by design. So by having the panels in the back, our air conditioner in the middle, and our max fan at the front, the rest of this, the sides of this, the max fan, and the whole front there around the fan, sorry, and the air conditioner, that's all going to be decking. So we can really maximize our entire rooftop of our van. And our ladder comes up right here, so it's perfect to have decking here.
So for reference, we have two 200-watt solar panels from Renogy, and we are connecting them to a 500 amp hour lithium battery bank. So we probably would have gotten an extra 100 watts of solar if we had space for it, but we just don't, and you're not really supposed to mix wattages, right, of solar panels.
Yeah, if you try to, and this is all it's all very technical and I don't understand it entirely. Basically what happens is your panels will only operate as efficiently as your smaller panels.
We talked about this in a previous video when we were putting the roof rack on, but we'll mention it here. We had tested this overhang with a piece of plywood because the roof rack dimensions are actually smaller than the van roof dimensions, so the solar panels extend a little bit off the roof rack. So that's what that looks like, and it looks pretty much exactly what we thought when we tested it with plywood, and I think it looks fine. We'll get used to it.
So we didn't have the option to mount these side to side and still have the efficiency of the 400 watts of power that we got. So mounting them front to back, now I have to reach all the way into the middle of the van from the side just to get this little lock nut on the bolt that I have in place there. I'm tall, I've got a very long reach, and it's still really difficult.
So you mean to run them perpendicular to the roof?
Right, if these were running side to side, all your bolts would be right here on the side, and you could, at least in theory, this roof rack would be a little bit difficult. At least in theory, you'd have an easier time getting under there and tightening them all down.
Got it.
I got the solar panels installed finally. My entire body hurts from trying to tighten up this one nut right here.
Yeah.
But we're good. There's no give, no wiggle. We are golden. All I got to do is wire these bad boys up, and that should only take me a few seconds. So I'm not going to do that right now because I want to figure out exactly how I want to wire them, if I want to do it in parallel or not.
It looks beautiful.
Thanks. All right, guys. Solar panels are mounted to the roof, and that's going to conclude this vlog. That's your cue.
All right, it is Friday night, so we're going to head home. Thanks so much for watching, and we will see you next week.
Bye, guys.